ask any questions, interact. You know, if you're here live, it's your time to ask these questions and to nitpick the brains of such incredible women that have accomplished really an amazing amount. So it's gonna be awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool, your background.
What? Estee, right?
So cool. She's so cool. She's like Olympic. Is like so cool. Gets me all hyped
Look,
up. I'm like,
I got my shirt. I'm like, oh yay! And she's like, nah, I'm gonna one up everyone.
We gotta be professional, guys. Come on.
Seriously,
Yeah.
seriously.
For sure.
I don't got nothing. I just got my weights, you know.
You got the Olympic circles in the back. Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, we're good
On silence.
Wonderful. You are you have to take your, oh wait, can I take you off? Hello everyone on Facebook and live. We are live. I need to take myself off, which is you, Todd. No, but I need to take you off. No?
Oh, fine. I'll just leave.
Okay, cool.
I'm unmuted.
It's Beatie. Ooh.
It is,
Hey.
Hi, guys.
My
Hey.
Still, so they're like, you know, that bedtime takes like longer. They're still up, half of them.
it's
Realized.
and with my nephews, I've learned my nephew's 8 months, and he's up at 11 p.m. and I'm like, oh no, that can't be. I'm not a parent, but I'm like, oh, that can't be good.
Yeah, my kids have like been crazy sleeping schedules now, but.
Oh yeah.
Also, you just had your big trip, so everyone's probably exhausted and still recovering.
They don't get exhausted too easily. You know?
Yeah. Totally. I woke up this morning at 6 a.m. My son was outside fully dressed playing, and I'm like, when did you leave the house? He's 6 years old. He's like busy. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
It's good to be a kid, although I feel like I am one, but that's a different story. Anyway, let's get right into it. We have, streaming all over Aish. Welcome to Jews in Sports with Michael Neuman. As I said, on Aish in support of Jewish Inspiration Foundation. Our program does have a lot of From girls in it who run our race. So this is a very important summit for me because we're taking your incredible minds and experiences to not only empower Beis Yaakov girls and From people and everyone, because your accomplishments are amazing. And we just lost Beatie, which is fine. She didn't like my introduction. But we'll continue. So come on eventually. So the short introduction for everyone, and we'll get into the longer introductions, but Beatie is a pro-Israeli marathoner, amazing accomplishments. Liba is this amazing weightlifter, and Estee Ackerman, as you can tell from her insane background, is a ping pong champion. And so your accomplishments are surreal. Let's do something special today and create a video that not only changes lives, that'd be amazing, but at least how we think. And the first question comes like this, and it's the concept that I looked everywhere, scoured the internet for these incredible for you guys, and you're it. You're the only women. That's it. You three. And I looked everywhere. You're the only From female athletes. So the question is, why aren't there more? It's simple, and I don't have the answer. And what I love about this is we'll discuss it. But what's the reason? Is it a problem? Is it not a problem? What do you guys think? Whoever wants to take it first, we can go with you, Liba, and I'll ask Beatie to start the video again. But that's the first question. Everyone, please on Facebook here, send in questions or anything you want. But we'll start with that.
All right. So the question is, why aren't there more? Right?
Why aren't there more From female Orthodox athletes? What's the reason, the issue, or not, or whatever?
Right. Okay. So I'll just touch on one point. I think that like a lot of, if you look at I think everyone, especially Beatie could say she's an exception. Like most athletes, they start training from when they're young, right? Since they're little, and it's something that they build up on as they get older, right? They're doing this since they're 3, 5, whatever. And by the time that they're let's say, they already have that talent, they know about it. I think that a lot of From people, it's not like we're less athletic. It's that we don't even know that necessarily we have that talent. We don't have the opportunities, we don't have the opportunities other people have. We don't have these things in our schools to know that we're a super fast runner, right? Or something like that. So we find it out later on in life, and some people never find that out, right? If I knew that I had this talent like years ago, or was proud of it, or I knew but I hid it, then my life, would be different. So I think that it's just that we don't have that opportunity to discover it so much.
It's definitely an aspect, right? The opportunities aren't there. So if you don't have enough opportunities, you're not going to get there. Beatie, the question is basically,
1 point, right?
I don't know if you caught the question, but the question is, I scour the globe and you three are it. Your accomplishments are amazing, but you're the only from, female athletes. So the question was the simple, why is that? Is it a problem? Is it not? So Liba is saying, obviously the opportunities aren't there. You don't find it out till later. What's your take on it? What's your feeling?
You're asking me?
Yeah, we're asking everyone. We're all discussing. I mean, that's what's wonderful.
Sorry, I had this, my son had a medical emergency, so I had to just deal with it.
Totally understandable.
It's interesting. Yeah, I definitely think that from world and especially for girls, there are less opportunities for competitive sports. I think that there's been improvement. Like, I see a difference from when I was growing up to now. When I was growing up, I had to stop doing gymnastics because there was no opportunity to do it modestly. Today, there are tons of girls gymnastics groups, and I think there are a lot of opportunities. So I see it as we're making progress. I think that another thing is sports are kind of like almost, they're not really valued so much in a certain way. Like, no one would really, not that people think it's bad, but it's like you do it to be healthy, but you don't, no one's ever going to talk about pursuing sports as a career. That's like weird,
Right.
So
you're the Jewish mothers. You're the Jewish mothers. That's not what the Jewish mothers say.
It's just not and the truth is that you have to be really 100% like all in and committed and dedicated to get far in a sport. So if the odds are low, why do it? I was recently thinking, I love rock climbing and snowboarding. Why didn't I do that? It's a big investment, and and also it's expensive in a certain way. So when you have big families, to invest that kind of, some sports, take a lot of money. So I think I do think, though, there's room to improve in terms of the opportunities for girls to pursue competitive sports in a fun, healthy way.
Right. And you bring a good point, because Liba has said that also, in a sense that this, where you said it's weird. We don't even know. Like Liba has pointed out, we're not even aware that this is an option, or that you can be strong, or that you can be an athlete and stuff. And it's, to that point, I think it's very important, and wonderfully that we are making, leaps and bounds to empower people and let them go for what they want. But yeah, it also conflicts a little bit with Jewish values a lot in our heads, right? We want you to be, anyway. Estee, what would you have to add?
I first have to say that I'm very privileged to be here. I'm only 18 years old. You guys are mothers and have families and are very responsible and successful, accomplished ladies already. So I really feel like the joke of the kid here, so it's incredible. But it's challenging. I think it's to become a from Orthodox top athlete. It's kind of like an oxymoron. Just with every challenge, and especially for females, modesty is a big one. It's not so simple to just go out there in a running competition or lifting weights or ping pong thing and to be that one with the skirt. It's a little, funny. People, will call you out. I know, Michael, you've told me things with when you wear your kippah, and all those Spartan guys, I always used to say to you, wow, there's that kid with that funny hat thing again, or whatever. I think sometimes, unfortunately in today's society, girls get down on themselves. They don't have that confidence. They don't have such a big support group, because in the yeshivas or in the schools, whatever they have is just there. No one has such a big eye, such a big dream, to maybe yeah, why can't we try out for the Olympic trials? oh, because it might be on Saturday and we don't compete on Shabbos. But why have such a negative outlook then? Why not try and give it your all to say at least you got there, like some of us did already, and have made big titles of like, wow, look how, people are really trying to make it to the highest stages of sports, but is literally getting so much recognition, not just for their talent and skill, but literally because they're staying true to their religion. And to me, that's like so cool, because if, girls are just feeling like, oh, I can't do this because like I can't, wear a skirt, or it's going to be a Shabbos conflict, or because like kashrus is so like complicated when you travel and like this, like forget about it. I would say to really put it all to the side. First, let's get there, work hard, do your best, really give it your all. And then we'll complain, later on, and we'll have these cool times like this, and we'll, get on TV and in the newspapers when like, wow, there's that Jewish from runner that like can't go to the Olympics because she's so inspiring of, sticking to her religion as her number one priorities. So I would really just say that everyone just has to give themselves a little bit more of a boost. Like, don't get down on yourself. You're amazing. Everyone can do whatever they dream for, and you have to set the bar at a pretty high stage for yourself, because you never want to think that, well, this competition was on Saturday, so I'm done with competitions. They're never going to, like, that's wrong. Always have a positive mindset and keep your future extremely, extremely bright.
Ooh, Beatie, what do you say? She's like, it started with like, I'm just this little kid,
I think we should just listen to Estee tonight.
Exactly.
Questions.
It's awesome.
I got so inspired by that. Do you guys have anything? I mean, it's your conversation. If you want to go,
I'm actually just curious to know, Estee, like how you got into ping pong, and because like we're talking about it not being something, like, and to pursue it at a high level, like what motivated you? What got you started on it? What did you do when people in your class were like, you're weird for spending all your time doing this,
Okay, I first just want to say that I think it's the Michael Neuman show. It's not the Estee Ackerman show.
No. The point is here to impact people, and you just did, and your Beatie, your question is amazing. So
it's
good to
have conversations.
I'll just leave.
So so really to just get to your question, I started when I was around 8 years old in my basement where I currently am. My father wanted to do something that was very interactive with me and my older brother. As he's anti the electronic gadgets, he thought the upcoming young generation would unfortunately just be looking down, addicted nonstop to, all the things that we have in this century. And he said, let's do something. I'll involve exercise, catch up about your day. Ping pong's not so expensive. We had a ping pong table, just in our basement, and we could do it year round. And it's something good for hand-eye coordination. There's a lot of benefits, which I'm totally pro about. And so he really just started out with my brother. And I'm the youngest, it's just me and him. So I was that annoying little kid that went downstairs and also wanted to give it a try. And just really probably wanted to just hear what's going on. And I was very, very little, so they just saw like a paddle going back and forth. So they assumed I was somewhere there by the table under, on that side. And we just had a fun family night activity. That's really what it was, just catching up about the day, giving the cell phones a break, and really just getting to know a little bit more, about, family. And I feel like that's very crucial, especially people make jokes, dinner, it's like literally over FaceTime or whatever it is. But we really have to, I think, just give it a little bit of a break to really interact, face to face. So just from the basement, we, 15, 20 minutes a night, had just a fun family night activity, and we began to see a little bit improvement. It was like really, cool to see like me and my brother getting a little bit better, after 6 months, let's say. We were only doing this for about 2 to 3 weeks. And we then took it to the next stage of going to something called ping pong clubs, where me and my brother were like shocked the first time we went in. We were like momish, like humiliated of just like seeing real ping pong like players. Like we were just like basement players. It was more of like a hobby to us, where we then took it to like, wow, like we're actually like not even like this close of like getting to like the next step. But that was like a big moment because we were seeing about how big, you know, the ping pong world is. And we were also recognizing that we would be the only Orthodox Jews, you know, in this sport.
It's I'm going to cut you off just because I want to ask, because it's a big moment for everyone. I mean, you guys, you know, Beatie and Liba, you all have it also, right? When you get to the start of a line, and I don't know if you do or not, but like you question yourself. Especially, I mean, again, your Kiddush Hashem with your shaitos and your shait, it's amazing. But like you said online, you're like, all these incredible athletes, what am I doing here? And how do you overcome that? What do you do to tell yourself that you belong here? And it's a big issue that all of us deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
Liba, Liba, do you want to answer? Do you want to answer that, or in Beatie?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that like I'm not allowed in competitions. I think I'm the only one from you guys that I can't compete because of my modesty. That what you wear is important for the sport. Like you can't be modest. It's like against the laws, and we try to. I sent emails, and I got, you know, from the heads of the competitions, and I didn't get any. Meaning, it was just like, no, there's no budging. Like this is the rule. You can't like enter if you're gonna not dress, you know, the way we want you to. And for me, it was like, meaning even I wouldn't. It was such a statement for me. Like, am I gonna step over that line, or am I gonna stay even if it's 30 seconds and it's only 2 people, and like there could be a whole. They're like, what's the big deal? Nobody got it. They're like, who cares? It's 30 seconds. But I think like, so I can't compete as of now in my sport, but to me, it was like it was very hard in the beginning. I felt like I lost it all. I stopped lifting weights for probably like a few months. And then, you know, my coach kind of like yelled at me. I was like, what are you doing this for? Like, is that the only reason, you know, why you're like doing this? What does it make you feel internally when you like lift heavy weights? How does it help your body? And then I transferred into really helping other from women understand the value of like being strong. And I think for me, that was like a big, huge transition. Like, I know that my passion, just as much as, let's say, competing, is to help women be strong, which is also not something that's very common, like to focus on like strength and weights and, you know, all that stuff. So that's where I channeled it.
To helping others.
Yeah, to helping others, to change this way that women view like strength and being strong, and not just like their size and stuff like that.
And all of you, by the way, hold the similarity in a sense that Estee went to the Olympic trials, lost a day for Shabbos. Liba, you were going, you know, you were ready, trained to break the world record, couldn't do it because they have a certain, you know, thing that you have to wear, and you can't wear a skirt. So you decided, you know, obviously not. And Estee, you touched on it such a beautiful thing at the beginning. And then Beatie, oh my gosh, you trained for this thinking that the Olympics are held on Sunday. And then
that there'll be some, you know, change. I'm not giving up yet.
Hashem runs the world 100%. But still, the initial gut reaction, right? All of you had this, you know, and again, to the morals, very beautiful, but it's still, it's gut reaction. You put in all this work. I mean, Beatie, you run like 7-minute mile for like 20 miles. And that's like my fat, you know, I run, you know, like 6 minute, you know, 6:30 for 3. I'm like toasted, you know, like you're incredible. So how do you, you know, it's a real thing. You know, when you want your goal, you train for it. How do you really recover? Especially, obviously, you did it for Hashem, you did it for, you know, your morals, but you can't run and try to go for the Olympics, even though, you know, yeah.
Well, I think that's when you know that you do it for Hashem, and that's the reason you do it. I very much relate to what Liba said. Like, to me, at the end of the day, I love running. Like, I love it I love the challenge of pushing my limits. I'm like, like, I just enjoy doing it. Like, you talk about, like, you ask the question about, you know, what do you do when you feel like, what do you say to yourself at the starting line if you're like, oh my gosh, all these other athletes there? Like, I have never felt like worried about other people. To me, it's just like, I'm gonna go there and do my thing. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. And I never asked myself, from the day I started running, thank God, like, I loved it. the first marathon I ran, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't question whether I was like, I very much hear it as a legitimate question that people have. And I guess I'm just blessed that it's not something I really struggle with. I think everyone is going to encounter moments of doubt. Like I have had moments where I'm like, whoa, like the level, like the goals I need to have, and people are sponsoring me. And what if this race just doesn't go the way I want? And oh my gosh, I'm failing in the workouts. But to me, like when I encounter those moments, thank God I'm quickly able to turn it, to find the positive, to see the strength, to focus on where I am right now. I think that what worry comes from is like, overthinking or too much like about the future. Like if you could bring yourself back to the present and say, right here, I'm right now, and I'm going to take it one step at a time. And like, then you can take away the worry, because you just need to do what you need to show up and do what your job is today. That's always what I tell myself. And if you have a bad workout, like that's part of the process. That's okay. Everyone has bad days. And I'm able to go into a race like, because I say like, I picture the worst case scenario, and I literally envision it and sit with it and part of it in my body, and then I accept it. And like, I'm so cool with like, if I go to a race and I just blow up and I can't finish, like we're all human beings. We all understand that, so.
It never happens to you. You're always winning. You always win. You're like, it's okay if I don't, and you're like, I'm first. I like that.
No, there's not like I'm saying when I go to like I don't always win races. I've had bad races,
Yeah.
Like to me, winning is getting the most out of yourself and doing your best job on that day. So in that case, thank God I've always won.
You are so inspiring. I love, like I'm saying, when you need to talk about that stuff of like envisioning the worst case scenario and accepting it. It's such a beautiful thing just in life in general, to like try your best, but know that like whatever could happen, you accepted it already. Like I did that in birth. It's like I have a whole plan, natural home birth, but like if I don't accept the fact that it might not totally go opposite and imagine it, like that's like a really huge lesson that I learned from you. And I always envision you when I'm like doing something crazy hard. I'm like doing something and I'm like, imagine I was Beatie and she was standing there. Like I want to show her that I could do it too. And I'm like I put like those visions in my head. And it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all go through intense like moments in our life in all different kinds of ways. And that's why I find sports so powerful. And I think like you Estee, you talked about like hand-eye coordination, and you talked about like, and I think it's like you use your mind a ton in ping pong, and you talk about strength. And the reason why I do think, contrary to like what from Beis Yaakov schools are going to say, is like, why are sports so important? They're so important because they're important to like our well-being, just as like humans, and like we function and there's so much there's like too much emphasis on trying to be one mold and everyone needing to like fit one path. And we need to like recognize that all of us have different strengths. And like, I can't imagine if I tried to push myself into like just living my whole life a certain way and not exploring it. Like I live off of this. Like, this is just like my chiyas. It's like Hashem made me this way for a reason. Could you imagine if I ignored it? I wouldn't be who I was meant to be.
It's suffocating.
Right. Yeah.
The sad part is like it happens all the time, in a sense, and for whatever the reason is, you are correct. And Estee, you said, why can't we do both and type of thing, and we can. That's the whole point. Hashem doesn't create robots. He's creating individuals and people that can, take out his Judaism to affect the world, and that's what each of you are doing, especially in your shaitls. Can't imagine running a Spartan race,
Not yet for me. Don't worry.
But staying focused, mindset, right? It's, by the way, it's so important. It's so important. We all get lost, and it is a bracha that you naturally have that to stay focused, because we get down on ourselves and we beat ourselves up, and we're our worst own enemy. Estee, when you have a big shot, you have a big moment in Olympic trials, ping pong, it's all mental, right? It's all high coordination. You get down on yourself, you're done. What do you do? Because we're normal. We are human beings that get down on ourselves. What would you suggest? A simple thing just to get yourself back into the moment.
So it's a great question, because I know I'm not speaking just by myself. I'm sure we've all encountered those moments. As I think I loved really what Beatie said, it does happen. And it's also just very clear, for sure in sports, but also in life. But in sports, the losses for sure make us better. And in life, the challenges do make us better. That's just a given, which I think is a very, very crucial line to always keep in mind. But, when we're talking about like something like the Olympic trials or, just such a big competition and that someone trains, a half a year for, 2 years for, 5 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a day, gives up literally so much, if it's schoolwork, family life, whatever it might be, just focusing on this. It's hard to get back up. However, though, it is, so to say, a very big part to keep your mental, there, because I think, like even like when we travel, like we always like to go like at least like a day or so before, if there's a time zone different, like a time change, or just get, to the environment or just to the altitude and like with the food, and like that's literally like nothing to do with on the court. That's all your mental feel, like, I go like, are you still feeling good? It was a different state. It's this and that. I like to, for myself, just personally always, like pump myself up with like, like let's stop complaining about like the different water taste, like with the different air, like enough of like these little nitty gritty things. Like, okay, Estee, like you literally trained many, days and weeks and months for this tournament, like let's see what you got, let's stop, like focusing on every little mental aspect in this comment and who said what and why my first workout at the tournament was so bad, even though in New York I trained amazing. I think for my personal self, I like to keep the nitty gritty things aside, really focus on what my obligation is. And it's, to pick up my racket, look at the ping pong ball and my opponent and, let's try to, win at least. I think a little bit of the background, or if it's like the media, or if it's like, the fans, or if it's just, again, like the simple things like, oh, well, I thought the supermarket like in Las Vegas was going to have the kosher yogurt, but they didn't, or whatever. Okay, you could still survive. There's many other options out there. And I think that
yogurt.
And, I really just think that, to focus, on what you're doing, the physical, again, if it's running, weightlifting, or just playing a solid ping pong match, that's really what it is. Whatever, butterflies people feel in their stomach, or again, the air, again, like so many of these things do play a role. I'm saying, it to be nitty gritty because it does come up, in my emotions for these big competitions. But for what I like to refocus really is recognizing, wait a second, like, why did I even come here? Not to complain, not to look who's here, not to see that big, the billboard or whatever it might be. It's to play my match. It's to look at the competition, love what I do, compete on a high level, and to hopefully, get some good results for myself. And I think that's very, very crucial. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's vital. We get down, we make up so many excuses and we, shoot ourselves in the foot before we start the race. It's just a ping pong match. Oh my gosh, didn't have the right yoga. We go, we drive ourselves nuts like that. So it's a very good point. Liba, you have a question?
Yeah, no, I was just like, that we were talking about mindset, and also like we were talking about the from world and all the type of stuff. And I think Beatie would agree with me in this, is that like, don't focus on like the negative. Like I never talk about like, I try not to talk about like the negativity of like not acceptance or all this type of stuff, because there's so like, if we're going to focus on that, we could go on and be super negative and be like, if only, why can't it be more? And like when we're running, we feel like we're the odd ones out, or I'm not running, but like when I'm lifting, I'm definitely the odd one out, this little, mini person. And like, I don't focus on that. Like, it's like, I think I'm so super cool that I'm like that person. And like, there's going to be tons of people who are not going to accept what I'm doing, but like, I'm not focusing on that at all. It's like, I'm focusing on my mindset on the positive and the people that I'm going to impact by doing certain things, and how the religious world is transforming, and how there is acceptance in a lot of places, and what impact, let's say, I'm making and you guys are making by being strong, right? And by meaning sticking to our beliefs, and how it transforms the world by that, as opposed to focusing on what's not, right? And that is it's a mindset of it's a mindset. You have to be like, meaning you have to train your mind to think that way instead of the opposite, because I didn't always think that way,
It is so important because, especially in therapy, right? Once we get into the familiarity of being negative, it's a train that doesn't stop. And so, to your point, if you have to change your mindset. And Beatie, you gave the answer in such a positive light. It's so natural for you, There's nothing wrong, but look at how wonderful things are moving, and look at the opportunities, like how wonderful.
I think that's why we're able to stay modest and stuff, because most people, meaning, because if we were coming from an angry place of like, why not? It's so unfair. That's when we would throw it off. Yeah, I think it's very hard. It's very hard for me, but I'm not angry at anything. I'm not resentful about it. And if I chose to be negative, I would become resentful and I wouldn't be able to maintain it. So there's no focus on that. It's not like I'm missing out on life. And this is, taking away from, like, religion's taking away from a passion of mine, right? It's opposite. It like enables me to be who I am through this.
Yeah.
I would just add, like, I think what we're all sharing is just finding the confidence to do something that's not necessarily the conformist path. And I think that the beauty of Judaism is we're community, but it's also sometimes to a detriment that people have a very narrow-minded, like, conformity, like they get nervous. Oh my gosh, I'm doing something different. You know what? That's a good thing. And the more we could cultivate it, and just like, I always say, you do you, like, show up there, go be yourself, be proud of it. Like, I have never, ever cared what other people think about me. It never crossed my mind. So when I started running, it was like, great, I'm going to go run and do my thing. Like, when I decided I wanted to win a marathon, like, it didn't matter to me that, some people thought that was weird. Like, I just wanted to do it for myself, So, and I think it's so important always to be motivated, to stay true to yourself and to be motivated for yourself. Like, I get the same amount of satisfaction and pleasure from running as I did when I was a completely anonymous runner. And now, like, I think you can't go out and do something because you want, like, people's recognition or attention or fame. Like, I always tell people, I'm like, I don't see any, like, great, I don't know why people want to be famous. I really don't, It's like, who wants that? Just do something because you want to do it. And the more you could listen to yourself and learn to love yourself and do what, like, is important to you and what you're passionate about, and just be really comfortable with yourself, the happier and better fulfilled life you'll live, for real.
I'm so happy we're having this. I really am, because those messages, we don't hear them. We don't hear, like, to be happy it sounds simple, but yeah, it's about making, being inspiration, being positive. It's just, it's so wonderful. I mean, the comment comes, you guys are, incredibly beautiful gifts to the world, especially to your families, children, the frum world, the entire world. And that's like the whole point of all of this. And I'm really happy that we're discussing these things. I have a funny question / Liba knows what's probably going to happen challenge. And that is, the question is, why is it that guys think we can beat any woman? And I say this by saying that I had challenged Liba to a push-up contest, and I will again, soon. But not only did she obliterate me and destroy me, she destroyed me. She had 54 pull-ups and I had like 32. Push-ups.
I'm like, pull-ups? Wow.
Sorry, push-ups. By the way, have you seen her videos? Have you seen her ninja stuff? Yeah, she good.
It's not Ninja Warrior. It's very easy, by the way. They were begging me to come on, and I have zero, like, of that strength,
She's amazing. Next year we're gonna do it. Okay, so Liba, would you like to?
So what was your question? Your question was, why is it that the guys always think that they're stronger than the females?
Yeah. What do I mean?
Because they are usually.
Okay.
I'm saying men physically are made with a stronger upper body mass, strength, whatever. That's naturally like usually, a woman will not beat a man in upper body stuff. But push-ups, I think, is like it's not just like how strong you are. Like you can't I can't press as many pounds as you can, but push-ups is more of like a muscle endurance. So I can have stronger muscle endurance than a huge buff strong guy, and but he could press weight, more weights than me. So I think there's a difference in the type of strength that you're doing. Make
Perfect.
sense?
Should we show everyone?
They have ego. They always think they're better and they always want to prove
Right.
it.
That's for sure, but
We don't have to
right.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say?
Said men have more of an ego. They always think they're better and they need to prove it. It's part of conquering. I just know I'm good for myself and I don't need to prove to anyone. It's like I'll prove to myself.
Okay, I'm happy you said that because I was gonna be like, yes, but Liba, like at ping pong, at what it doesn't, it could be mini golf.
Natural.
I'm saying it could be anything. Guys feel, for example, there was a guy, a tennis friend of mine, who played on the lower end of the ATP, not even, and he said to me with so much confidence, "Oh, I could beat Serena Williams easily."
That's such a
Come on, dude. So
it's a very male tendency. It doesn't surprise me.
So that's where, like, I think ping pong really, does take the gold medal here, with being more or less equal to all, where I find, it just, again, really when I was starting out very young, my coaches would sometimes say, like, Estee, like, maybe, like, only play against men. Why? Because they're built stronger, they're better, they look tougher or whatever it might be. And in ping pong, you could be in different events, where it's totally like co-ed, you could be playing against men, women, whatever it might be. And, it was just so funny to, again, if you can imagine the scene of, again, a ping pong table on one end, like a little 9-year-old girl, whatever it might be. And on the other end, like 6'2", ripped, built guy, both playing a ping pong match. Very even, because in ping pong, you have, again, hand-eye coordination, footwork, it's not like in basketball or whatever it is. If you would put those two people up against each other, we would both clearly know who we would favor. But even in ping pong, even I had such great memories, really giving some, tough guys, some good beatings, which is really, just such, thrilling moments. And I'll even also mention, even in 2013, when I had the privilege of playing tennis star Rafa Nadal on ping pong, which is pretty cool. As we know he's the best tennis player in the world. Maybe people argue with Djokovic or Federer, but it was, again, so fascinating to really see how unique ping pong really is. It's not an age thing, it's not a sport thing, it's not like a gender, it's not built, and I was just really learning for myself that anybody could really be beating anybody, which was, again, just such a more motivation for me to keep going. And by the way, I did beat Nadal. I'll take that to put that on there. but again, it was just, just the moments that, when you're thinking of like, oh, like all these guys are all like, full of themselves and like they're stronger and like this and that, All right, Michael. But like it's just
in general, but that's I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, we're 3 against 1 here, sorry.
Exactly.
But it just but it just recognizing, like we'll just have it, I think, inside of us, that we'll just really show, at the end of the day, really who is, the, number one or the winner. And it's just, that moment, especially in ping pong where anybody could beat anybody, which is very, very awesome.
Good message. Agree. Two people. Let's see what happens. Battle, minds, and stop talking and let's play type of thing. Because a lot of guys we do a lot of this.
Are runners faster if it's male or female? Does it make a difference, Beatie?
Yeah. Men are definitely faster until you get to the really endurance, like in the ultra level, women could have an advantage. So I actually really like ultra running, and I'm sure at some point when I retire from the marathon and go on to the, either I'm going to do Ironman or maybe like ultras. So
Spartan.
Spartans, I don't know, but yeah, there's no comparison. Like the world record for men in the marathon is 2 hours, but and the world record for women, the fastest, like, and she's very rare, is like 2:14 in the marathon. It's a significant difference. Now the qualifying time for men is 2:11, and for women it's 2:29:30 in the marathon. So it's like you don't have anywhere near the range of speed.
I think you'll get there, Beatie.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to do a marathon in December in Valencia. I'm very excited about it. So
Why does it matter for a man or woman in speed? Like what, they have more, like what would it matter? Okay.
it's just
Also, I think
everything.
when it comes to speed, as my coach had said, like there's different fibers that you have to work on when you get that to that speed, like in sprint tracks and stuff.
Even
So-
your aerobic capacity is not the same. But I'm lucky. I train the guys. The only people I run with are all guys, and I'm very happy that I have them. And it's very annoying for me when I go to a race and they do the races just like men and women, and when I have to run with just women, I don't have anyone to pace me. So then I'm not going to have the chance of going as hard because I'm all alone. So I like running with guys. I need them.
Competitive.
Yeah.
It's interesting also with the endurance. In Spartan, the top Lindsay Webster, the top female racer, has placed time-wise top 10 of the men. So I just thought that was interesting, as you said. Like once you get to the endurance stage, more of like the mental stage, there could be some damage on the woman's side.
I couldn't hear anything. We just had like a crazy airplane just like fly over our house. I don't know if you all heard it, but it was like a jet fighter plane like flying over. It was a Corona. They're checking if I'm doing Bitud in my house.
Exactly.
They call you. They called us today. They did like an inspection visit to make sure we're staying at home. So,
Okay. More positives, that we're being positive, and it's wonderful, wonderful stuff. Okay. I feel this is a good place to end, unless anyone has anything else to say or add.
I think I'm going to add something actually.
Do it.
What I just want to share, I think for a long time, I very much downplayed like how serious it is. Like to me, it didn't feel like so much of an issue to be Orthodox woman and running. Like I don't struggle so much with, I'm not gonna not like I've always dressed modestly my whole life. I'm not gonna all of a sudden start not dressing modestly. And especially at this point, I can't even really say that I choose it because like it's not even an option. Everyone knows who I am. Like if I show up at a race in my tank top and shorts, like it's like a scandal. Like I'm not doing that, So there's no way. So that's not the struggle. So I was like, oh, this is fine. Now that I'm trying, I've been working very hard to see, is there any way to convince the Olympic Committee to switch the date of the women's marathon from Shabbat to Friday? There is logistical complications because they moved the event to the Sapporo, so it would be cooler. And I've been having discussions with the technical delegates and with Israel's Olympic Committee and the head of the Israeli Athletic League and Japan, all these different like people trying to help, and a lawyer, and at some point it came up, it's like Israel has basically, it's like a question of how religious really are you, because there have been other Shomer Shabbat observant athletes from Israel before, and they've always found a way around it. You can ask a rabbi, don't run with a chip, or it's okay, there's a way to do it. And it's almost like this is not something they're going to really care about. That the Olympic Committee can't make any exceptions for religion, because if you come and say that you can't run on Shabbat, then what about, Muslims can't run on Friday and Christians can't run on Sunday. So you might as well not try. And I got this message from Israel. I got this message from, people who were trying to help me, but basically just telling me this is not something that they could really care about. And it made me start thinking, it made me start doubting in my mind, just like, maybe I shouldn't even bother speaking up. Like, maybe they're right, you know, I don't, like, how could it be possible? How could we accommodate it? And I started to feel, and then I realized, as I was just like thinking about it, that if I'm having all these questions, you know, and I'm someone who's really confident and passionate about being proudly observant, and I even am beginning to feel like I shouldn't speak up for religion, then can you imagine how it must be for someone else who doesn't really feel so confident about it, for even making a choice to wear a kippah to work, or to, you know, to say, I can't come into the office today because tomorrow's, or I have to leave early on Friday because I celebrate the Sabbath, to speak up for that. And it made me realize that maybe, like, my right for religion and is just as legitimate as someone, you know, there's been a lot of discussion about gender rights in sport and transgender and all that, and people are proud to talk about, and we have people proud to speak up about race, and that's something that everyone's talking about now. But somehow religion becomes something that everyone is like, doesn't want to talk about. Like, you're religious, it's like you're fanatical. Like, no, you know, it's something that people are scared to be proud of. And I think I would be so happy to accommodate a Muslim who said, I can't run on Friday. There has to be a way that sport, I believe that there should be a way that sport could accommodate it, as long as it doesn't interfere with, you know, other concerns of athletes. And I think that there should be a system. And I think it's time that the world start viewing religion as something like that we take into consideration, because we want sport to be universal, the same way we make it accommodating for all kinds of, for gender and race. And so religion should be up there. And so it's hard for me, like, I'm not someone who, it made me realize, like, this is not about me, because I don't need the world to bend over backwards for me. But I want the world to recognize and realize that if I'm making a choice for, like, my religious values are important, and that if I'm doing it, like, to respect it, and that the more, and I think that we're coming to more recognition that the more we could respect each other, regardless of our differences in all these areas, the more inclusive we could become. And so instead of people saying, no, like, don't speak up for religion, like, we've already tried that, there's nowhere they're going to accommodate you, and, like, don't even go there, or try and fit in, or try and find a way. Why can't we recognize and let's be okay and proud of it? And I want more people to be, because I realize, like, it's not just in sport, it's in everything, that we should not feel embarrassed about our own religious choices and preferences. So I'm working on getting that message out there. And
it's an important, well, the message is so important because the concept of religion, of faith, is as you taboo in a sense. Listen, I read Anthony Hitchens' book. I just said that out in publicly now to reiterate, to make your point. Anthony Hitchens is this very famous atheist, and the way he talks about religion is how everyone is viewing it now, as it is some sort of decision. It's a lifestyle, you know, whatever. You're fooling yourself, you know, that you think this is a part of who you are.
I wanted to say, even if someone does view it as that, I don't care. They should be respectful of it the same way I view someone else's choices as their decision, and they have their right to it. That's what I think.
Right. But if someone sees you, but they won't give you that respect if they don't see it as valuable. That's the point. That's where the danger comes.
That's where we have to go, because
right.
Like, I totally understand. I know I'm very close with many people who don't view religion the same way as me, and I could completely understand it. So I understand why someone might not choose to make my choices, but that doesn't mean make it unimportant. That's what I want to say, is that the more that we could become respectful of our differences and more inclusive of them, the greater we'll become as a world. And that's where we have to go. And we're seeing it in all other areas. And for some reason, it's not happening in religion. And that's where I want to change things.
I mean, I'm saying my theory of why it isn't working in that is because it's become become just a fantasy thing that's not real, you know, because if I don't feel it, like, you know, people, they don't feel that it's a legitimate thing anymore. I mean, you can see the statistics with, you know, in the attack on religion, 50% of people on the census in America said that they're, you know, religious, but they don't go to church. right? So what does that mean? It means 50% of people believe in some religion, in some, spirituality, but they don't go to church because they see religion as what is fake. So then it gives me the ability to say that I don't have to respect you because it's a fake thing. And the real essence is from Kai, we have to respect everyone, and religion and spirituality, it makes us better people. We do fantastic things. Don't look at me differently because you don't see me as valuable. And I think that's your mission. And that statement just hit and struck a chord with me in a sense that saying that you should respect the religious thing in sport. And you changed my brain, because I've always said, why should Spartan change their championship on Shabbos? Because they're running an event, it's a lot of money, just for one guy. The truth is, if we're seeing everyone as equals and important, you should put me into that realm. Yeah. And so your mission is huge. I'm just thinking to myself, like, we should start like a petition of some sort, some Facebook group, I don't know, something
We'll see how I decide. If I need to do more, I have a lawyer that was helping me. I just have to, I'm seeing if I'm like I don't want to go about it too aggressively. That's like, right. There might be ways to do it without being,
it's the same thing that I felt like with why I can't compete. It makes no sense. It's like, right? It's like, you can't bend anything for religious purposes. Come on, it's 2020. Like,
right. Right, and it contradicts the value. To your point, it contradicts the values of we're being inclusive to anyone. You are correct. Right?
There are, like, I understand there are guidelines, there are rules that sport has. That's why I said if they have the ability to accommodate. Sometimes there is health concerns. Like right. I would respect it, but I'm saying there should be some option for it, like that we can speak up about it and see and make it. There has to be a movement towards making it more inclusive. In Israel, it happens to be that they will accommodate anyone who is Shabbos observant. They'll move up like I have to participate in a league competition and it's on Shabbos, but they're making my race after Shabbos so I could do it because they understand and respect religion. And I think the same thing they do with Muslims also. So I think that's very progressive in a certain, like we're.
Yeah, no, it's wonder. Again, your message is, and I'm going to reiterate it. It's an important one, and it just hit me and it stung me in a sense that you're devaluing what religion is, and the whole country and the whole world is devaluing religion basically because we're seeing it as a fib, as you can pick, go. It's not real. It's not who you are. It's not your identity. When all of us, you specifically, women, have felt it firsthand. Olympic trials, not Shabbos, holding, weightlifting records. What? That's because, I just decided today and it's because of it's who we are. And that is a really wonderful, powerful message. So even if we can start like a petition or a Facebook group, bringing that message back that religion, spirituality is it is your identity, and we lose that sight, and people don't see that anymore in the world. They don't see that.
I think you guys are all doing a great job just going out there, being confidently, proudly, passionately observant Jews and pursuing your sport at the highest level. And the more you do that, and the more you're not apologetic about who you are, that's what we want to show people. Like I had a really good conversation with Charlie Harari about this, and he told me a story about like when he showed up, he was a lawyer at a big firm, and like his first day on the job, he remember like he had to speak to his boss, and he was so nervous to ask him.
She froze. And we were just getting to the Harari part.
She is far away. She'll get back.
I definitely agree though with everything she was saying, like in terms of like we all just have to be more, I guess promotional, like in terms of me, like I know I'm still in my youth, that's my biggest message always, just, get the young and upcoming girls, like, let's do it, have your passion, whatever hobby, whatever interest, you're into in life, sports, arts, whatever it might be. I'm very young myself. Everyone always has to recognize that at the end of the day, if you're not going to start, then like, what are you waiting for? And for all of us, that are trying to literally live our dreams, this is just everything that I think we're passing on really to, all the people that are listening or the people that are reading our stories, and just hopefully, follow with ultimately, doing what Beatie said with living the dream, but again, also respecting what everyone else does. It's just so clear why, there's so many different types of Jews out there in the world. When we, really say, Achinu kol beis Yisrael, it just shows, we're always going to be somewhat a little bit different here and there. But when we really have just pure respect, for whatever people are doing or wearing, then I think more of the, awareness will come, and have, I guess possibly some accommodations pulling through.
And that's why this is so important, this event, to hear that from all of you and such. Beatie, we lost you.
Yeah, my computer died.
I said in the middle of the Harari story.
My phone's gonna die soon also.
Oh no.
He basically was just he showed up to the to ask his boss if he could have off early Friday, and his boss said, sure, you just need to thank Deborah Feiner. And he was like, what? And he said, yeah, Deborah was had worked there 20 years ago, and she was a star lawyer, top lawyer, now a partner in the firm, and she always took off every single Friday. And when she came, it was a big no-no, and everyone told her, don't do it. And she proved herself she said, I'm not going to miss a single Shabbat. I'm leaving early every Friday. And they saw that she was so committed, and she was both committed and working, but also that she didn't compromise on those values. They were very impressed with that. But she paved the way so that later on down the line, any lawyers could easily take off on Friday and not feel bad about it. So to me, it's we've got to make progress in sport also, that we can say, I'm sorry, I can't compete on Shabbat. Is there a way around it? And let's come up with an alternative. And I think, God willing, and the same way, we see advancements in the frum community in the amount of sports available for women, we'll see changes in the world as well. And we're coming closer to Mashiach, and Bezrat Hashem, very soon, the whole world will recognize Hashem's presence, who truly runs the world, and right, Umala Aretz Deas Hashem, the whole world's going to be filled with that. So let's just get there.
By the way, quickly, Alan Dershowitz, I had met and talked with him, that he helped with athletes in Shabbos in Israel. So that might be somebody that to reach out to. But you all are walking the path. Hashem puts us wherever we are, and a lot of people forget that we walk the path. When I blindfolded myself for a Spartan race, and 4.5 hours with a 20-pound weight vest, and just out of whack, realizing, I said to myself, it's a living hell. I feel like I'm living a dream. The ability to say things are very tough. I can't see right now. I don't know where I'm going, but I can't get into the Olympic trials right now. We're going to go different ways. We're going to pave the way for women. We're going to talk here and inspire people and realize for people that they have to overcome, one step at a time. You have to continue to put the step down, even though you're terrified, you don't know where you're going. But if you believe in Hashem and you say, this is where I'm at, Hashem. I don't know what's going on with me right now. My senses are gone. I don't know where I am. I feel like I'm in a dream. One more step, and you focus on that. And that's literally what you incredible women are doing. So I appreciate you sharing that. And Beatie, we need to get you, we need to figure out how to get you in, or at least make the message clear. Continue to send that message that we all just sent, that it's bigger than ourselves.
I just want to also, Liba gets huge shout outs for
Yes.
Every single day she's not competing, and no one's getting so much reward in Olam Haba and being an example. Not always you're going to get to do it, but you're going to do it by not doing it. So I should really and all the girls out there who want to compete professionally in gymnastics or I don't know, I've gotten questions about maybe figure skating might be a little easier. You might not be able to do it in every single sport, but doesn't mean that you shouldn't pursue that sport and enjoy it just for the sake of enjoying it, and do it and love it. Even if you can't do it on the international stage, it's okay. So thanks for having us here.
Yes, Liba, I'm obsessed with Liba because I'm a weightlifter. have you seen the video of her with everyone in the gym looking at her? And the big guy coming up to me like, one more. And she's just like cranking it out. And she's like, just, amazing.
I'll send it to you.
How come I don't
Have you not seen this?
He's like this world champion bodybuilder.
I didn't even know that.
Humongous. And there's like, go! It's just so funny. It's like that was the last competition. Like it was like a smaller competition. Then I realized that like I'm not going to be able to go higher. So like, you know, mine.
You have to see the video because everyone's like, it's just a good feel and you feel proud. It's like this guy is just like screaming at her, like everyone can't believe it. And she's just like going, it's amazing.
It's the best. Wow.
Okay.
I'm done.
Thanks for having us.
So much. This was really very something special and important. Okay.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
You guys
Thank you.
rocking.
Keep inspiring everyone.
Take care, guys. Bye.